April 30th.
Voting in progress.
Let's stand for the pledge of allegiance, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Benza, present, Mr. Toda,
Present.
Mayor Cuprio,
Present.
Mr. Alexander,
Here.
Mr. President Suchovich,
Here.
Ms. Redzak Showalter,
Here.
Here. Dr. Carpenter,
Present.
Mr. Jamelis,
Present.
Dr. Wong, Mr. Wong,
Yeah.
just made a doctor.
Are there any emergency additional agenda items? Nothing. Registered comments from the public, we have one. Hey, Curtis Sperling, 420 Ridge Avenue. Come up to the microphone, state your name and address, please. Give me your conversation for 3 minutes.
Yeah, Curtis Sperling, 420 Ridge Avenue. So I recently moved back to Verona from Palmyra, grew up here. Growing up, I know nobody here wants to hear the word, speed bump, but we had one on Ridge Avenue growing up. We don't have one now. I have a 4-year-old and an 8-year-old. Whenever I tell you that my 4-year-old was probably 7 feet away from getting hit by a car. I want you to keep in mind that Ridge Avenue, for those that don't know, it kind of lies. Ridge Avenue goes up the hill, Selden Avenue straight, right? Selden Avenue is used for people that work at Daily Juice, Magna Cheese, Conco, CXL warehouse. I don't know what that is, but I'm forgetting another one. It's a major roadway for a lot of people. I live in the middle, I mean, one of 2 houses in the middle of 3 stop signs that nobody stops at. It's concerning. I have a video camera. I know nobody is probably interested in seeing the videos, but I have video footage of, and again, I can show anybody who's interested. There was a car, whenever I tell you, it was going 50 miles an hour, and it was that close from hitting a deer. It becomes, more of a safety issue. It becomes a public health issue because then you got a dead deer everywhere. But anyway, the point that I'm trying to make is, as a father now, I've gotten in trouble in this town. I grew up in this town. I did it all in this town. I'm back. I'm a father. I care about my 2 daughters, my daughter and my stepdaughter. I don't want something tragic to happen. Now, I'm a reasonable guy. I don't expect to wake up tomorrow morning and you guys outside putting a speed bump in. I'm asking respectfully if we can come up with something that would calm traffic a little bit, because it is, nobody cares. I mean, nobody cares. It's like standing there. I'm petrified to let my daughter, anyway, I had somebody come today to give an estimate on a fence, which I have more information about, but I'm petrified. I know growing up, my dad, he was probably a pain in the butt to some of you who might know him, but he cared about us. We got the speed bump in. Again, I'm not saying that that's the route we have to go. I'm just asking, please, if we can do something.
I will be here comes, I will have the engineer come out,
Okay,
review the area,
okay,
and do a study.
okay.
He is on vacation, and so I'm just asking you to give me about a month,
Okay.
and I will at least have him come out and review it.
Also, Nancy, could you put that on your public safety committee agenda for this month, and we can discuss possible options to alleviate the matter.
Big problem with speed bumps are, right, they're not used as much anymore, so they're really, really hard on plows and such things, so.
Is there any particular time more so than others? I mean, I'm sure it's constantly, but like at 5 o'clock when Dailies lets out or whoever.
So, okay, yeah, good question. In the morning time, I've noticed that, I have video footage. I think it takes place over 35 seconds. 5 cars within 35 seconds. None of them stop. So morning time, afternoon time, evening time,
Like when you say morning, what do you mean?
before 9 a.m.
Okay.
Yeah, so like going to and from work, night shift is getting off, people going to, so yeah, I mean,
Afternoon around 3?
yeah.
It doesn't matter which way, either way, they're.
Oh, yeah, it's all over there, and
What about coming down Ridge?
So, and I hate to say it, there's a lot of people that just blow right through it there too. A couple houses up from me, and I respectfully, brought it up to them, like, hey, I have kids here, you just still.
Yeah, that was gonna be my next question. Do you think it's? But, I mean, there's no way for you to know, but in your opinion, do you think that it's like blatant disregard for the stop sign? Or could it in some instances be a case of they didn't see it, visibility? Because if it's a visibility issue, that's something we could work on to make the sign more visible, or you put like a red light on it or something.
I think with that particular street, it's almost like a forgotten street, people use Selden to go to and from work. There's not much on the road as far as, what do you call it, like, stop, like, with the, there's not much to like, it's a blank road, I think you got one speed limit sign and then stop sign.
So maybe we could suggest the street crew to put the stop sign on the road itself in big letters, you know how they do?
Like I said, even a red light on the sign, or like you have a speed indicator sign on center. So when you're going up the hill, you're not paying attention and you look over, it'll blink and tell you you're going 40 miles an hour.
I will, like,
Like
I will
something
have the
like that.
engineer and DPW go up once, Matt is returned.
Make sure the trees are cut back.
Look at that area and see what we can.
Start,
Just give us,
There's also, there's the caution signs for children at play.
Yeah.
You might put something there too.
So the one, it was my dad and my uncle back in the early nineties, they put the one up on the telephone pole, it's still there. And then there's another one right above the stop sign, where Rich is still a while off, but, it's just. And the thing about I feel like, and again, I know it's, I feel like the speed bump would be less expensive than what's on Center Avenue. Because whenever I'm driving, I know how fast I'm going, I don't, and I don't mean any disrespect, I don't need a sign to tell me. I feel like some people would use that to be like, oh, I'm going 45 miles, you know what I mean, more of a.
Well, I know we just had a lot of pruning done last year
Yeah.
because that was the issue last year, was visibility. There was trees in front of us. So
Yeah.
we got that taken care of. But
we'll have the engineer.
Yeah.
Talk with Matt, the engineer.
Yeah, I mean,
That's fine.
that's a question.
Some question about the legality of speed bumps
Right.
in Pennsylvania anyway, so I'm not sure that's an option, but
Okay.
there may be other options that will.
Yeah, like I said, I'm not going right to the speed bump thing, obviously, if we could figure something out, I would appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Can I ask a quick question? I may have missed this. Hi, Curtis. I'm Trish. I live in North. I know we can't have speed humps. Craig alluded to this because of the change in elevation, but Matt will be able to tell us exactly what options we have. Can you comment, maybe you did already, about the intersection of Ridge with First Avenue? There's no stop sign. I think I've heard people discuss a mirror because of what Vince said with the tree removal. Do you have any ideas for ways we can have more safer conditions at that intersection? Thanks.
Again, Trish, we talked about going and having Matt and DPW go out and looking at that entire area.
That was discussed actually at the last public safety meeting. So I just wanted to clarify something. I thought the Ridge was a dead end.
no, there's two coming to Ridge. The section between High Street.
Ridge is a dead end.
The top part of this bed. Yeah. But he's not talking about.
You're talking
First
about
house.
intersection itself. The people that are going fast are coming down and going where?
Well, from all directions, yeah, I mean, they'll go through the stop sign going down, and then, but mainly Selden,
Yeah, and so the intersection with Ridge and First actually was discussed at the last public safety meeting
Okay.
to put in those mirrors, and that's one of the things to ask Matt about. But here, I'd like to give you my card with my number, and because I'd like to see the video.
Okay, sure,
And you can
absolutely.
either email or call myself.
Okay,
All right,
great,
thank you.
all right.
Sorry, yeah, and I was
Thank
just asking from like a person who lives on their perspective, if they thought something like a mirror would be sufficient for traffic calming, or if they were hoping for more like four-way stop signs right there, or like just living perspective.
Right, it wasn't necessarily for what you're asking for,
Right.
but I just wanted to point out that we didn't talk about that.
Okay, yeah,
Thank
thank
you.
you.
Thank you, Kurt. At this time, we're comments from the public. Council will hear comments on public related items. Please approach the podium or raise your virtual hand. Clearly state your name and address. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes.
Hi, I'm Patty Wetmore, live at 518 Nobles Lane. My husband
Can you
Gary.
sign that form for me, please?
All right, we were here last year with a letter, about getting our road fixed, people had signed, and we were told last year our road was definitely getting paid this year. Now, what's going on?
Well, it takes, the grants that have gone through, they have to get funded, and none of them have been funded yet. So until we sign off on contracts, we can't do anything, and I will tell you as of right now. There, a lot of things are like, Centers was supposed to be done this week. That was postponed because the, company that makes the asphalt hasn't been approved yet,
Wrong with center.
where they just fixed it.
It's fixed, and for now.
But
They're
there,
the ones that are near.
we here will get, there's a GEDF grant that has been written. It's got vocals on it. We're just waiting to get the approval.
It's just getting worse. It's getting worse.
Yeah.
And there's a tree company that drives onto it, and they're tearing it up even more. So it's just like. Wow, all right.
Yeah, I can tell
So
you.
anyways,
that-
we understand. We have applied for the grants. We're just waiting for, I think it's a county now to
Yeah, we're waiting.
finalize the paperwork.
I'm just worried about hemorrhoid, twisting an ankle getting. hurt
Understandable.
Because the road is bad. We filled it ourselves a couple of times.
Stephanie, maybe we can send DPW, see if there's anything they can do up by their house.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's true. Big patches. Yeah.
and I will, yeah,
I
Okay,
mean,
thank you.
it is under,
All right, I just want to be put on the back burner. because
it's not. We have 4 or 5 other streets that we're waiting to hear on the grants.
Yeah, but we don't.
we absolutely understand that, and the people who live on Third say the same thing.
You're not the first
No.
residents that have complained about.
I mean,
locals
people are
either.
trying to sell their houses, they were having a hard time selling their houses because the road was terrible, they're saying, this is a road, it's like. it's a road.
They are working on it to the best of their ability. Everything's based on a grant. And to be honest with you, grants sometimes that you think are gonna come through,
But wasn't so much approved for paving of streets not too long ago?
there was money approved, but there were grants written, large
Uh-huh.
grants that were written, that were approved, we're just waiting to sign off on them.
Okay, all right,
All
thank
right.
you.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'll sign this afterwards. Hi, I'm Joey Warren from Vogel's Lane. 2 things, public safety, and also for what was just shared here. Grants are an option. There's other ways to pay for things. Grants are just a coupon that you can use, but there are ways you can raise money through how you raise money and just how you pay for those things. The reason I'm here to share something is actually, I had an issue on January 10th, and I talked to the mayor on the phone about police presence in our community. He answered the phone call, actually made a phone call to me the next day, answered to me the next week. What was frustrating that I found recur again on April 14th is that on January 10th, I called about police presence because we had cars running through where we have at the intersection of Second and South, where you have the school bus stop, where you have people just who were coming through and passing through stop signs. That happens, I think, just through each year. You get new drivers, you get new habits, it gets darker, but people are passing through 2-3 days in a row, so I called the mayor and asked them to be there. And I understood that we didn't have police that were available. I understood that we had not enough police force for all shifts, so we didn't have police for a period of time. So it couldn't be the next school day, it could be the next school day, it had to be the next school day. Fast forward February, March, April, May is tomorrow. April 14th, I called about a police presence. I called you again, Mayor. You've always offered, I can call you if I ever need to. I'm actually taking you up on that. I was very frustrated last time I talked to you. If you guys aren't aware of this, there's an issue that had happened on that Sunday, I guess prior to somebody having the assault in their home where they were robbed or whatever had happened. Is anyone aware of what happened at Cripsfield that day? Without me sharing this, okay. I was the house, so I just want to share with you guys what it looked like for us, and I'm going to share with you some of the concerns I have. At 1:59, my camera's on my front porch and myself on my front porch saw 3 kids running through the property, going through homes where they are not supposed to be going through homes, aiming for my house, and they can't pass through mine, so I said, you can't go through here. 3 girls turned, and looked at me, the one had mascara down, she was crying, and she was holding her head, and said she just got jumped. She was assaulted by people, and she's trying to find somewhere to be safe, so I said, you can, right here on the porch is safe. Be right here, this police officer that lives across the street, and then I started hearing yelling, and through the homes I could see behind, there were kids yelling and cussing, looking for the kids. So the other neighbor beside me called 911. And then 2 kids were running down the alley behind, another street up, trying to find them, find a way to come finish whatever they started. I don't know who started it, I don't know who ran first, it's not my job, it's what police are for. You know how long it took to get police at our house? Does anyone know? Can you shut that? I can't see you. Can you shut your briefcase, please? Thank you. It took an hour. 1 hour, 911. So I had someone show up at the house with 4 other neighbors an hour later. In the meantime, the 3 kids that got assaulted, the 2 kids that were supposedly the ones that hit them, still don't know what that was. The father, everyone left. Why don't we have police here? This was an issue back in January. So when the state police pulled up, an hour later, no one's there, they're asking what's going on. They had to drive an hour from Pittsburgh International Airport to get to Verona. And I learned from my conversation with the state highway patrolman on my front porch, because he spent more time with me than anyone within our community could, because no one is on shift. I personally asked you to come over because I didn't know what to do. You're the highest ranking person I knew. Person was assaulted, you need to find the 2 other people, they're gone after an hour. So it turns out they have to go from the Pittsburgh International Airport, through the pit tunnel, over the Monongahela, across the Allegheny, up Route 28, across the Allegheny, either go up Allegheny River Boulevard, which you guys know from the storms was not a clear passage, or go through Oakmont where you're stuck on Allegheny River Boulevard. That's who you guys have decided to be our police for an unknown amount of shifts in a month. And I don't even know how many, I don't even know if you know how many shifts last month were not policed by us. But what I found out from the gentleman that was on my porch from the state police, we're essentially in police welfare in Verona. We're one of 9 communities who relies on people calling 911 instead of dispatching here locally. There's right now outside 3 police cruisers. I don't know if there's 2 now because someone's out. There's 3 police cruisers here, but no one can operate them. We wait for them to come here, but we're sharing with 9 other communities. So when those 9 other communities call 911, they're dispatching and saying, hey, state police, can you leave Pittsburgh International Airport? Verona doesn't have police officers. It's either through mismanagement, undermanagement, neglect, they've dissolved, whatever it is, but there's 9 communities and we're one of those. So we've paid to have police force, but we don't have the full coverage of the police force. So when we have anyone that's called to answer any questions that we have, I understand that it's up to the 911 operator to share what it is, and if it's important to the communities beside us who are not under contract, having to report to us, Oakmont doesn't have to come here, there's no contract. Penn Hills doesn't have to come here because there's no contract. We're waiting for them to come through. I don't think that's fair to us. And the thing that really frustrated me was that state highway patrolman on my porch said, we have 9 communities. Do you know how many police officers on a shift are covering 9 communities? Do you guys know? This is literally a question. 5 to 20. The frustrating thing is that he said that the mayor, the sergeant, the chief who used to be here, no one is telling them when we don't have shifts covered because no one wants anyone to know here, I guess. So from what I understood, they don't even know. And that's not fair. I'm sorry, was there a question?
No.
You're laughing at my comments. It's not funny.
My comment. to you
I'll
would be
wait till I'm done, but don't laugh while I'm presenting, please. Miss Stephanie Wolford.
Sorry.
Thank you. I don't think that it's on us to have police cameras and testimonial, and for us to have accounts and have any of these things where we're gonna share with you, what did you see? What do you think? You guys need to police the community, and having a police presence is probably the best way to approach this, the problem I had, and the other problems you had on the street. I don't wanna call you in January and see that's been a struggle. I know it's been a struggle for a couple of years. I don't wanna talk now in April and then come back again another month. There's too many times where you're being told what people are seeing and you're not fixing it. And it's frustrating. And I think that being complacent and incompetent this far is not helping it. I think you were very complacent and I think you're very incompetent in figuring out the answer. I know there's a lot of money. I know you don't have to wait for grants for everything, but I am, as a resident, telling you what my expectations are. If I hear that fire engine whistle going off, I expect a fire truck there. If someone calls 911, I should expect an ambulance there. If someone calls the police, I don't want to, after the fact, have someone tell us if it's important or not. I'm glad it wasn't my daughter that was punched in the head and bleeding and crying with mascara, and I had to wait an hour for the police. I don't know who that father was. He took off because he had to get his daughter to Med Express. But I was the one that had to get the name, the address, the contact information, the parent. I'm not your police officer. I'm paying you to have police officers. And I'm very frustrated. So I know I've gone over 3 minutes for Robert's rules. If you had something you want to share, you can share that now. That's all I had to say at this point. I do want to, before I leave though, ask, how many shifts in April now that's complete? How many shifts did we not have covered by our police that we had state police here? You guys even know? No, no one knows? I didn't think so. Thank you.
Anybody else?
Oh. No, you can. Hi, I am Lisa Nzinga, 520 Ridge Avenue. And I just wanted to bring to your attention, I don't know if anyone has read this editorial, am I allowed to submit this?
Sure.
Regarding the Brilliant Branch Railroad. And it looks like there's plans to, a proposal and a filing to link a shuttle between Homewood and Aspinwall with an expansion to Verona and Oakland. And I just have concerns about that. I don't know if anybody knows about that. And, you know, concerns about safety. I don't know, when that's supposed to happen. It's just the editorial, but I thought maybe you would be interested in that.
It's the first I've seen anything.
Yeah,
on
it's the
that.
first I've seen it.
And that's from April 25th.
We've talked to the representative Jen and you've told us nothing about that. You've told us about crossings that are being fixed. Concept of more, more trains going through, but not once. And we've asked him numerous times because we are having some issues with the trains. Never once did he mention that.
Okay,
And we've asked him all sorts of questions.
maybe you guys can look at it and see.
We'll check it out, definitely.
It's supposed to go into a biking and walking trail, but then they're promoting this shuttle going from Homewood to Aspinwall. As an extension.
Yeah.
And, you know, there's concerns about safety and also. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll have
Thank you
we'll have
very much.
Representative McAndrew look into that
Mhm.
for questioning.
Terry Carr, 759 East Railroad Avenue, and I just wanted to say some positive things about this community. I'm not from Verona, and we've been having our business here for 18 years. And I want to take a moment to express my gratitude towards the council and the police force and the firemen here and the mayor. I understand it's very frustrating. I definitely can empathize with what past councilman Joe has expressed. And I've attended the local council meeting for a couple of years now. And not all the time, but often. And I can honestly say that our council member and bar manager are working tirelessly to do the best they can, given the resources and tools they have. And understand what happens in Verona is not unique to Verona. Look at downtown Pittsburgh. A shortage in police force is happening nationwide. Every community across the nation is facing similar challenges. So as a business owner in the service industry, many of us also depend on the reputation and safety of the community. But look what happened to Verona in the past few years, right? We have breweries open up. We have a beautiful waterfront property. Somebody took over and put a lot of money in, invested in Verona. Now we have the Acclamation Brewery and Artisan Pizza Shop. Off the rails, put a lot of money in, took over a abandoned gas station, turned into one of the best barbecue places in Verona. Village Inn is in operation. We have another investor, Bob Blondie's, which putting a lot of money investing in the community. Lawrenceville Distillery is happening. If this is not a good community, these business people will never invest the money in here. So because they're doing it, I think the council, whether it's present or previous council, should get a lot of credit for it. And considering the recent event, I also want to address that we need to have a positive and supportive community atmosphere. While social media and news outlet can be powerful tools for communication, they can also amplify negativity and sow division. As a community, it is crucial that we come together in time of challenges and adversity, supporting one another and fostering a sense of unity. So let's refrain from spreading negativity on social media and through news channel. Instead, let us focus on promoting, understanding, empathize, and cooperation within our community. We should celebrate our strength and achievements, our fellow residents and business community, and work together to address many concerns or issues in a constructive and respectful manner. So that's all I have to say. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sherry. Anybody else? Jessica Brown,
Hi, it's Jessica Verone, 722 Bruno Street. I've got two questions. One, I know it's a workshop, so you don't have Matt there, but I want to check in on the status of the pavilion being renovated in Cribs, because as I understand it, the permit or the application permit, no, the plans, that's what it is, that they were submitted to the city like a year ago now, and we still haven't gotten approval on that. And I understand that the city's slow, and you know, I work for a federal bureaucracy myself, so I get it, but like, this seems a little ridiculous. Like I just, there maybe, is there like a follow-up happening? And again, maybe Matt knows the answer and all of you.
I actually can give you the answer that there is a follow-up happening. The unfortunate problem is, what the health department is requiring, we cannot provide. So they are trying to figure out now how to fix that. There has to be a requirement that we don't have to charge taxes. We've told them numerous times we don't when it comes, and we won't be selling the food. That does not seem to be an answer that the health department is willing to take. We are on supervisor number 10. We have been doing this for about 6.5 months and we're still working on it. In fact, 2 weeks ago, our administrative assistant was on the phone trying to work it out and we're still waiting to hear back. So until they figure out that issue, until the health department's satisfied with that issue, and we can figure out a way to make that work, we're kind of stuck.
Are you talking about the 3 sinks?
what are we talking about?
No, not the 3 things. What they're talking about is to have a concession stand, to have a health permit. You have to be able to, you're selling food.
But what if they're not selling?
It doesn't matter. Their argument to us is we are selling food. Our argument to them is it's a rental. We're not selling food. And if the people are, it's a nonprofit. The health department has not figured out where we fit into that. For example, RAA, the concession stand must have something to do with the concession stand at the other parks. Because Chris Fields, the concession stand was built by grant dollars for the borough of Verona. We're having some issues. We have been working on it. We have been working with the auditor on it. And we're trying to figure it out. But they won't give us a license until we figure it out. And all they keep doing is throwing us back into a tailspin.
We can't have any of the work done until the health department signs off.
And the health department will not sign off on it. Everything else they requested, we have more than said it's okay.
Is it well, that's for the permit. I just want to make sure I understand not for the permit to just do the work, just for the permit to have a.
They won't do they won't do either, until we can prove that.
Okay, well, okay, that's information I didn't know. So I thought it was just still hung up with the approval process just to get the work done.
It is stock, that's where it is stock, Jessica, but when they do the approval's based on like numerous items that they sent us. We have filed for every item that they have requested. but they have not yet released it.
Seems like there's lots of pavilions out there in the community, in other communities, but I don't know, maybe calling them and I don't
You
know.
would like to call the health department and ask them, because we're stuck. We've been fighting this
Oh.
fight for quite a while.
I know that, yeah, I mean, I know that like Kathy did a lot of calling the health department and talking to them last year, so I don't know that it's very helpful to have us do it, but
They have a new director, and the new director is putting a whole lot of roles in place, and it's affecting everybody, but there's no grandfathering of nothing. Once it does, they don't care anymore. Restaurants, even if you don't have space, they don't. They hit the village, a lot of things, the village is the smallest place in Verona. I don't know if anyone's ever been inside that place, but the kitchen is smaller than our offices. But they literally made us move everything, to put hand sinks in the kitchen, more hand sinks in the kitchen, and put a new grease trap into the floor, and it didn't. That's
Well,
their
okay.
new model here, and they want what they want, and you gotta fulfill that before they'll sign off on anything. And that's the whole thing, the whole plumbing, the 3-bowl sink, all that contingency on approval from the health department. The Allegheny County plumbers will not do any of the work until the health department signs off on
We
right, well-
can't get it because
Thanks.
we're not.
Can't get it because they said that we have to
it. Just charge taxes.
charge taxes.
Even on free food.
And they want a door, an interior door leading from the kitchen to one of the bathrooms,
Oh, geez.
which would completely, we would have to cut the walls
Yeah,
and then it would be a public restroom and.
We are doing everything we can to get everything done. But it's sitting.
Okay. Well, thanks for the update on that. Yeah, I mean, sounds like just that update helps us plan for this year, so. We'll figure it out. And then my second question was like we had a community public safety meeting. And I know like one of the questions was like what the plan was for the borough moving forward with the police. You know, were you guys thinking about the regionalization? And it wasn't a good opportunity to like talk about it because, you know, we didn't, you had a quorum and you couldn't really be discussing things during that meeting. But I did want to ask, and, you know, I have heard some concerns definitely since that meeting, a lot of concerns in the community about public safety and the police, you know, response time. And, you know, would really be great to hear from council about what your plans are. I know you've gotten a lot of information and you said you've been thinking about what to do, but I feel like now would be a good time to make a decision and kind of come up with some action. Thanks.
We're currently in the process of completing, we just completed the written civil service test for 2 full-time officers. So they now will have to take their agility test, their physical, and their psychological. As annoying as it can be, it takes 3 to 4 months to hire a full-time officer. As Officer Francos can tell you, we are moving as fast as we can. But so we're already looking at adding 2 full-time officers, and we're in the process of interviewing another one. At that time, we will have more officers on duty than we had when I started here. And I feel that we're moving in the right direction. Unfortunately, I'm sorry that it could not be a fast-moving experience, but civil service, getting people to apply. There's, you know, being a cop right now isn't on top of it.
That's an everywhere issue.
It's an everywhere issue. We are very careful about where we're at and what we're doing. And I would say, you know, we have been as proactive as we can with the situation that was thrown at us. I would love to say you could hire a full-time cop in 2 hours. It doesn't work that way. I know everybody doesn't understand that concept. but it does take a long time. You're also looking at increasing benefits. We're looking at increasing pay. We are doing everything in our power right now. So our hope would be by July, we would have 3 more full-time officers on duty. And
So you're
you
not,
know, we are-
so I just want to hear from council. So you're not pursuing regionalization right now at this moment? You're just planning on hiring and hoping that that will kind of help just continuing on as we have been and possibly maybe needing to raise taxes on to continue paying for that?
Hold on, Jess.
To see some people.
I don't know.
At this point in time, all I know is that we're investigating everything. Like Stephanie says, we are in the process of hiring. We wanna keep our own police force as long as we can. If we can hire these people and get our schedules filled, that's what we would like to do.
Thanks.
Thank you.
One other thing, we should announce that we did hold an executive session immediately preceding tonight's council meeting to discuss collective bargaining issues and personnel matters, like the civil service issues.
Thank you. Anybody else? See any other hands? Comments from the advisory boards and commissions?
Oh, yes, Parks and Rec voted unanimously to appoint a alternate member at the last meeting. And Craig, you know what the term is yet for the alternates, the same as regular members of 5 years.
We're actually up to, they're a maximum of 5 years. You could actually make them shorter or longer.
In our bylaws, it just says to keep it 5 years.
For rec members, yeah.
Stay.
And I would imagine that the alternates are the same, but if you give me 2 seconds, I'll try to find that for you.
Yes, that'll be, I would say.
Leslie who?
That louder side.
Detweiler.
Yeah, she doesn't get 2 names. Tricia's the only one that gets 2
Yeah.
names.
You can pronounce them. Sorry, Trish.
We can come back to that.
We can come back.
Yeah, I'm just gonna, I'm announcing that it's
That'll
it's on
come
for
under
a
action.
motion later on, actually. If anybody has any questions, they can ask them now.
Okay, discussion items. I just have 2 things. I got a call from the Rotary, from Dawn Stoner, about the flags at the Doughboy. We might move a couple of the flags, as long as it's okay with DPW, where they don't have to cut around them. Around the Doughboy, they had 2 rows last year. It was kind of crammed. So what they want to do is put in the V coming on the boulevard and back Selden, or back Front Street, they want to put some flags along there. Does anybody have an issue with that?
So in other words, taking out the second row and putting that second row by the cannon.
Yes,
Yeah, it did look very I mean, I appreciate what they've done
Yeah.
for our veterans, but it did look very cluttered in that one area. It did need thinned out.
so everybody's okay if they do that?
I'd just like to point
They
out
also,
that I said that last year that I thought it would be a little too cluttered.
they talked about, installing a bench too.
Yeah, he wanted me to bring that up too. They also have, Trex benches, like the ones we got down at pickleball courts. And they want to, they're installing 2 over at Vernon. They want to install one somewhere along the Cannon area. I told him, I said, I don't know, I don't have a problem with it, but, you know, I wanted to bring it up to everybody here. And maybe they can give us some sort of diagram of where they wanna put it, you know? So. I guess, what's everybody's thoughts on that?
I think it's a great idea. There's a lot of people watching parades from that, bench would help. And there's a bus stop right there.
Right,
So that, and there's not a bench for the bus stop either, so that would,
maybe just put it near the bus stop sign and,
whatever, I would suggest. Asking the veterans who currently take care of the place, but I know that they've been touchy about it.
oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay,
So, well, just from being on Parks and Rec. We were told hands off in that area because the veterans take care of it, so.
would that be the Legion guys?
I would assume Dr. Stoner would know.
Okay, but if we're okay with putting a bench somewhere, I can tell him we're okay with it, but just
I'm pretty sure half the Rotary Club are veterans, anyway.
probably.
Yeah.
As long as they're okay with it, I think it's good. I agree.
Very good.
And I'm with you, if they want to provide a diagram, then.
Right.
That'll just help us improve it.
Okay,
And I'll make sure you know,
okay.
And they do want to get this done before.
there's a
More
lot
than
of
that.
things that wants to be done in that little spot.
I know.
We're
I know.
okay, it's gonna be a crowded home.
They can all help each other work.
That's all I have. Mayor?
Yeah, I got a couple things, Sergeant and I and Stephanie, I can let you know, we're gonna meet with the block captains, Obi and Jeff Morford, just to go over a few things and everybody be on the same page. They do a very good job of getting information out, and we appreciate that. Update on civil service, our borough manager did explain that. We are in a process of looking to hire. And safety and ordinances, we're at that time of year again when everybody's out in the evenings, middle of the night, checking doors, so please lock your doors. We're like every other community. You hear it on the news, people breaking into cars. And please cut your grass and weeds because we have an ordinance officer that, he'll be out looking and you'll be getting fined. And I just want to make a comment to thank Luke and Kathy Maddox for the cleanup over the weekend and everyone that participated. We do appreciate that. And I've seen bags everywhere and the street department picked them up, I believe, Stephanie.
Yes.
They picked them all up. But once again, thank everyone for volunteering to clean up to make Verona a better community. That's all I have at this time.
Thanks, Mayor. Stephanie?
Yeah, I'm so excited. I have the wonderful news of telling you the garbage contract was opened. The bids were opened on Tuesday, April 23rd at 12 o'clock. They were open to the public, so those present at that time were Matt Pitch, myself, and representatives from both County Hauling and Shank. A reading of the bids was completed and a tabulation was provided by Matt to the council. New to this contract, before I tell you anything, billing will now be done through your water and sewage bill. That way, we will have a little bit more of a say on what's going on. The first billing may be a little confusing because some, people might get water and sewage bills who don't necessarily, they have a dumpster. We don't know that. So we will be working hard with Oakmont Water to get that done. And you will be required to show us proof of garbage service if you have somebody besides the new provider. Just so we know and we can get it all done. We also, there's a 10 bag minimum now, they're 10 bag maximum, no more than 10 bags can be out at any one time for garbage, that helped decrease the cost. I do want to tell you there was an increase. The increase was not as horrible as other communities have seen. Hauling came in with a 23% increase, making garbage $27.95 a month for the first year, with 7% increases for year 2 and year 3, for a total increase of 37%. Shank came in at $35.76 a month, or a 40% increase for year 1, 3% increase for year 2 and 3, which was a total increase in 3 years of 46%. With this in mind, Matt and I are saying that County Hauling was the lowest responsible bidder, especially given the fact that many of the problems we have with County Hauling is a billing issue that we will have control over now.
What about large items you wanna?
Large items, one large item up, you can call and request it. They pick up mattresses as long as they're covered. They will pick up anything within a certain, there's certain things they won't pick up construction, concrete, construction materials, certain things like that. But you can call them and they will do that. The other thing they will be offering is, a recycling event, so that you can bring your hard to recycle items, things like that, to a parking lot, and they will be recycling those for you. Those will all be included. There will be no changes to pickup schedules. Everything will stay the same. That's about all I've got. The bid tabulations, if anybody would like to see them, can be seen at the office. You can come in, there's a copy of the documents.
Comments, I think our bills are gonna be pretty high this first time because at least my bill was only for the 2 months of April and May for this quarter. They didn't include June. So I'm assuming that the next bill will include June and then the next quarter, July, August, September. So it'll be higher and
They
then
will actually bill you for June
separately.
separately. I have to make sure, but I think that's how we worked it out because of the fact that we're going on a quarterly and water department bills July, August, September.
Okay.
But I will make sure, and all of this will be given out. We'll put it on Facebook. We'll do everything. We'll make sure we have an article for the newsletter. We have an article going in with the water bills. So.
And you said $27.95 a month for county hauling, but on this paper it says $28.51.
Because there's a 2% service charge for the billing. We have to pay for the billing somehow.
Yeah. So.
Any other questions on that? Next,
Okay, no questions about that? Okay, mural update, we got lucky and Pampino is finishing up the work on the front of the mural. It needed a really, really good power washing and cracks to be filled. The gentleman who came and met with us a few weeks ago will be painting it I will be meeting with them sometime next week. And I received a call on Monday and there are some residents who would like to donate the money to pay for the paint. So we're very, very excited. The hope is, we'll wait until about mid-May, the mural will go back up and it will be ready for Memorial Day.
Oh, good.
So, and I want to thank the residents who have offered to donate the money to pay for the paint.
very nice.
Cargill, their 2nd year option, this needs to be renewed so we can order salt for the next year. This is just stay on the contract with Shaycog. AJ and I'll work on the amount of salt needed for next year. And we're also working on, they're working with with Cargill right now to see if there's gonna be any, last year they discounted how much we had to take because we all had so much salt. So, we're hoping they'll do that again and let us hold on. We finished the interviews, for LGA and we're going to have an intern this summer. Her name is Josie. And she is from Gahanna, Ohio. Yes, I chose her just because she's from Ohio, in case you need to know. Actually, no. She is finishing up her junior year at the University of Pitt. She's majoring in political science and she will begin June 3rd. She has currently spent the last semester in Africa and Spain, and so it'll be exciting to hear about her trips. And she will be helping the strategic planning committee work on the outlines of a 5-year strategic plan.
It's just so everyone aware, Kahana is in Columbus, it's nowhere near Cleveland.
Yeah.
Or there.
The font designers, they would like to, the architects would like to meet with us, and we've explained to them numerous times about the sunshine rules and 3 people. What we would like to do is, they would like to talk to the board who haven't actually sat down with them, so that would be like John, Ray, and Sylvia. And talk to them so they can answer their questions. I know that, Tim and Vince and Nancy and Trish have been in many meetings on the block. So you can get your questions answered, and then we would bring them to the May workshop meeting, May or June workshop meeting, where they could present to the entire.
This Chris
meeting.
Blackwell.
No, this would be, the actual trans systems, the architects.
Brian and.
Yeah, Brian, and, you know, so I think what they're trying to do is get to meet with each council member, hear their concerns, and then we would bring them to a workshop meeting. And then, for, you know, they would present to everybody, to public, to anybody who had questions.
The last meeting I was at, Nancy was there too, and they had a lot of people there. There was probably about 50 people from all 3 communities.
Yeah.
It was a very nice turnout.
Website. Everybody listen, I need the following from the following council members. Red, I need a picture and a bio. I will be more than happy to steal the one that's at Burkett Truby if you will give me permission. Tim, I need both.
I gave you. That's it.
I
I'll
can't,
send you another one.
send me another, I can't find it. John, I need both. Nancy, I need your bio.
Okay, so you still have my picture? I
Your
sent?
picture's up. And I need to put my picture up, so
Okay,
that would fulfill, everybody would then officially be up.
Very good.
And just, this is not on the agenda, but just as an FYI, the auditors will be here Thursday and Friday. So tomorrow I will be running around with my head cut off, trying to get prepared for that. Because we found out yesterday.
I have a question regarding the website. The mapping feature, the GIS mapping feature. Somehow I've been clicking on it, and it's not working for some reason. I don't know why.
We are working with them.
Okay.
It works and then it stops working, then it works, then it stops. So, Matt was going to have one of the guys from LSSE see if he could figure out something. We're not sure why it keeps glitching.
Okay,
You can go to Allegheny County GIS view.
okay.
And if you ever need to know anything, 9 times out of 10, Teresa and I actually know what's not in or not in the borough. Actually, we're putting what's in Plum and what's in Penn Hills.
Is that it, Stephanie?
Yep.
Thank you. We've already discussed garbage. Committee discussion items, parks and property, Mr. Toto.
Nothing at this time. We had our first meeting and just discussed, goals. And the future will look for us, so no updates.
Very good, thank you. Community relations, Mrs. Preventa.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. President. We did have a meeting, Vince, Tim, and myself, and we have been working on goals for the community. And we've not completed them yet, but we hope that, by our next meeting, we will have completed the report. Thank you.
Very good, thank you. Next up is finance, Mr. Long.
At this time.
Nothing? Thank you. Next up is public safety, Dr. Carpenter.
yes. Thank you. We had our first open public safety meeting on Tuesday, April 16th at 5:30. It was a very good meeting, I thought. The other committee members are John and Sylvia. John and Tim. Jonathan, all of down here. It was a good meeting, it was good discussion on a lot of things. We started out with talking about visions and goals for public safety, and obviously hiring more police officers was the first thing that came up. There were some other discussions about neighborhood watch, tip sheets, sidewalks, things like that. Someone also brought up about looking into the social worker intern program and possibly looking into having someone to be added to the police department at some point, so we will be looking into that. Another topic of discussion was having a CPR class with the Lower Valley Ambulance Service. And I have some information that I need to share with you, Steph, about that.
Okay.
Pretty simple process. I think they said they could take 15 at a time. It would be $15 per person to cover some expenses for them. And they would also be willing to teach about Narcan and AED process. So I think that would be very useful. I will be attending, I know that, even though I probably know how to do most of the stuff I'm gonna attend anyway.
And are we gonna be talking to the fire station about hosting that?
We can, but whatever we need to do.
Yeah, cause this area won't be big enough.
It depends, if there's only 3 people, it'll probably work. But hopefully there'll be more than that.
Yeah, we did talk about.
Yeah,
Our department already said that could happen.
yeah, well, that may have come up at the public safety meeting.
It's
back
just
on
gonna
the
have to
3rd.
figure out, make sure we don't have nothing else in there up to date.
Right, we have to coordinate dates.
Right.
Okay, and we talked a little bit more about police and all of that, but I think that the police situation has been, addressed, and just like everybody else has said tonight, Plan A is to do whatever we can to improve recruitment and retention of the officers. That is being worked on as much, I think, as possible at this point. And, there is Plan B and C, I'm sure, down the line, but right now they're working on Plan A. In terms of firemen, just like police, it's getting more and more difficult to get volunteer firemen to join the fire department. And I was assigned the task of talking to the chief, unless you know anything more about this, Ray. There is a program apparently with the county. If you
Fire vest.
Yeah, is that what it's called, Fire Vest? Okay, I didn't know that. Anyway, we wanted to look into that and see if that was a possibility. To do that to attract more volunteer firemen, so that's in the research phase. Fire Vest, yes. We talked about the possibility of having a code enforcement person come to a meeting at some point and just talk to us in general about what he's doing, the state of the borough when it comes to code enforcement. So that's basically something to also talk with you about and stuff later. The other thing was that I mentioned earlier that was discussed was about the mirrors at a couple of intersections. One is that intersection at Ridge and First. The other one is on Second somewhere that I can't visualize in my mind, but other people can. So we were just saying that we wanted to get with Matt and ask him how much these these rounded mirrors that you put at difficult intersections might cost. Haven't gotten to that yet. And then, another thing that came up toward the end of the meeting was about CopVest paying a percentage. This is a group that pays a percentage of a new hire of police. You guys know anything about this?
Yeah, that's a grant, and yeah, it pays for training and.
Oh, it pays for the training?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, these were just all things that were discussed. We did have a couple of members of the public joining our meeting and expressing some discontent about things, but out of that came some positive discussion and some possible suggestions of things to do. One being maybe putting in an article in the newsletter on a quarterly basis, just on, the state of the borough. And again, that's something, Steph, I need to talk to you about. And, well, something about the bar captains, but it sounds like the mayor has, has it handled, you're gonna be meeting with them. So, it turned out in the end to be a very positive meeting, a lot of positive discussion. And, some suggestions, and I felt excited at the end of the committee meeting, so I just wanted to tell you guys about all that stuff that came out of that meeting. I think that's about it for now. Thank you.
Very good, thank you. Next up, strategic planning. Ms. Redzek Showalter.
Thank you, Mr. President. We also had our committee meeting this past month, April 17th. It was also a nice meeting, good discussion. We were able to explore some resources that are available through the Allegheny County Economic Development Office with Matt Trepaul. He is the manager in their planning division. He asked some really probing questions and really got us thinking. For a long time, as all of you are aware, we haven't really had a lot of plans for things. It was a lot of firefighting. But now we're in a process of getting plans together to move forward on things. And he said there's usually two problems. Either you don't know what you want, or you don't know how to get it. And I think we can definitely, especially with the help of our LGA intern coming on this summer, start to work on defining what the community wants. We've done budget surveys and various surveys over the past 1 to 3 years, but I was mentioning to Stephanie, it'd be great to do the budget survey annually and tie in some of the community wants and needs. Of course, they're coming through the meetings like tonight's meeting, but to have that more documented so that we can begin to incorporate that into our planning process. We talked a lot also about the difference between a comprehensive plan, which of course we're hoping to move towards, as well as a strategic plan and just strategic planning in general, and how we can work towards having both, which will be great. So I'm looking forward to working with my committee members and moving forward on these things. And Stephanie, I'll be working with you as well, and the intern over the summer, putting together the survey to hopefully go out. Like to do it annually ahead of budget season to incorporate some of these things into our planning. So that is all I have for tonight. Thank you.
Thanks, Trish. Next up, Personnel Committee, John, Mr. Smells.
Thank you, Mr. President. On April 17th, Vince and Sylvia and I met. We had a public meeting, our first ever Personnel Committee meeting. So we've discussed kind of our long-term visions and goals for the committee, and among those visions and goals we discussed were developing an employee handbook for the borough. Discussing personnel rules and workplace conduct policies. We also talked about making specific job descriptions for each position in the borough. And actually, putting an organizational flow chart on the website, just putting, adding it on, just for the public to see, understand, how our government works. And who to go to if they have a problem, anything like that. Under workplace conduct, so we discussed, a need to develop a standardized disciplinary system for exempted employees. Non-CBA. We discussed performance reviews. And understand here that it says that, performance reviews, I understand, are also required under the collective bargaining agreement.
I think some of them were.
Yeah, so, yeah. So, and, and I know some boroughs also, have an ethics policy that's developed, in local borough code. And I know, we're under the General Assembly, we're covered under,
Sure.
ethics policy. But I know there's many boroughs across Pennsylvania that have it also as part of the local borough code.
Yeah.
And I think we should probably maybe develop something like that in the future. Those are just some of the things we're discussing and, you know, we're developing more things as we go along. But, you know, we invite the public to participate. And, that's all I have.
Very good, thank you. All sounds good to these. Ordinary items, I need a motion to accept the February 27th and March 12th minutes.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Dr. Carpenter, second by Mrs. Provenza. Any questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Next up, we got some action items here. We need a motion to approve the option for a second year with Cargill through the Shea Club.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Mr. Long,
Second.
second by Dr. Carpenter. Any questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passed. We need a motion that we discussed this garbage contract. We need a motion to approve the garbage contract starting June 1st, 2024. Motion by Mr. Long. Seconded. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passed. Next, I'll need a motion to approve Leslie Setlock as the new Parks and Rec Board alternate member.
I'll make that motion.
So what I would do would be to make that for a full 5-year term ending December 31st, 2028.
Okay.
I'll make that motion.
Second,
First by Dr. Carpenter, second by Mrs. Provenza. Any questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passed. Next, we need a motion to ratify the to approve Pampina to repair the cracks and heavy power washing of the mural wall for $2,850.
I'll make that.
I'll second.
So, motion by Mr. Jamela, second by Mr. Long. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passed. Last, we need a motion to approve the street closure of East Railroad from Center Avenue to James Street on Saturday, August the 10th of 2024 for the Chamber Car Show.
I'll make that motion.
second,
Motion by Dr. Parker, second by Mr. Floda. Any questions? All in favor? Opposed? Passed. Thank you. Next, we have announcements and information. The newsletter, or Mrs. Provenza.
thank you, sir. Newsletter, we're currently accepting the summer edition of the newsletter, which will cover June, July, and August. And the ads are due actually tomorrow and the article. So if you can get them in, the article should go to Donald Ward and he can be reached at veronanewsroom@gmail.com or at 412-828-3607. And I can be reached for ads at 412-828-7726. Chamber of Commerce, the next meeting is going to be on Tuesday, May 21, 7 p.m. here in the Borough Building. And with that, we are going to start the farmers market with a soft opening, which is going to be on Thursday, May 23rd. And the seasonal opening will be on Thursday, June 6th. And that will run from 2 to 7 p.m. And the children's train and the Disney Princess will be in attendance at the seasonal opening. Also, Chamber is taking application for board members and also for new members. Winboro Ministries, the next community dinner is going to be Wednesday, May the 29th at the Methodist Church here from 4:30 till 6:30. The meals are being prepared and hosted by the Methodist Church. Historical Society. The next meeting will be held on Thursday, May the 16th, here in the Borough Building at 7 p.m. The speaker will be Leslie Kreislick, and she is from the Heinz History Center, and she will be speaking on women that made history in Western Pennsylvania. Along, which is Allegheny. There is a Women in Leadership Networking event going to be held on Wednesday, May the 22nd at Shanapin Country Club. And it will go from 11:30 till 2 p.m. Cost for a ticket is $25. And it includes a buffet luncheon. And to purchase your ticket, you must do it by May 13th at the latest. For any information, you can call 412-261-2551. And if you have any questions or any comments, I'll be glad to take them. And if not, this concludes my reports, and I thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Member.
Yes, sir. You're welcome.
This time, we'll take any comments from the public. We'll hear comments on public-related items. Please approach the podium or raise your virtual hand. Clearly state your name and address, and limit your comments to 3 minutes. Please.
Were you gonna make this announcement?
Accessible streetscape survey information and link to survey can be found on our website at veronaborough.org. Thank you. Any public comments?
Just for clarity from earlier, the June 1 garbage contract you had mentioned, the trash collection is based on water and sewer. I don't know if it was staggered payments or the same billing cycle as the water.
It will be the same billing cycle.
So the residents are gonna have the same payments for the increased trash collection and increased water sewer, not staggered, opposite.
Unfortunately, for us to take over the billing, we had to find a billing agent. Oakmont Water was willing to take us on. Because we can't do it in-house because we don't have the system set up. So everything will go out in those quarterly bills.
I would just have expectations, just so you all know, that's the borough manager answering for you, but my expectation is that you advocate that, you know, it's unfortunate prices go up, we all know that happens. It's your responsibility to advocate that those things don't just compound. I can't imagine paying something on alternating times and all of a sudden it's one big payment and it's increased. So I would leave that with council, that should have been advocated for you, just all approved on that, I think it was unanimously. Then also, is there any change in the biweekly recycled materials, or is it the same materials will be recycled, no change?
Gotcha.
Thank you. And then are you using the text alert system to notify residents of the upcoming changes so that they know all bills will be due at the same time?
Again, it will go out on the website, it will go in the newsletter, it will go out by text, it will go out on Facebook.
Great, I heard Facebook and the other shows, they don't text, thank you for that. And then from earlier this evening, after all the discussions, I wanted to ask, past tense, I think for April is a little tough for you all to answer, and I get an answer, but for this week, how many shifts are not covered by our Verona Police Department? Not the days, not the time, but I want specifics, but for this next week, what's the number of shifts that we're not covering with our Verona police officers? I would say either you don't know or you won't say either.
Council has no idea. Council is not in control of the schedule.
You're not aware of it either?
We're not aware of who's working what. And we're not aware of how many open shifts there are, if any.
Sharing with me that you don't know, because I thought you represented us and you would ask those questions, so I'll ask them. So if no one knows or can answer, I'm concerned because, and again, I don't want specifics of the days of the time. I don't think that's fair. And I think you mentioned that, Mayor, that you don't want the world to know that we're vulnerable, but I think sunlight's the best way to make this resolve itself to where I think it's not vulnerability at this point, it's embarrassment. So I can appreciate you're trying to save embarrassment. But it's not the vulnerability. I just want to know accountability, like how many shifts, but it appears that no one knows. So that's not the best option, I guess, is to know that you don't know. The other thing is, after all was said and done with the agenda, with the public comments, with all the things you had to report, you spent more time discussion around the grease traps and hindered hot dog sales than police and paving. That's embarrassing. I think all the comments that were had, all the incidents that happened in the last 4 weeks that I'm aware of. And you spent more time talking about restrictions of food safety, trying to circumvent rules around an extra door to a restroom. That's not a concession stand, we're not here to make money, and you're trying to circumvent rules that I think are built and set up so the county does have proper food handling, whether it's for sale or consumption, whether it's free, paid for, tax, whatever. You're focusing, anyone that utters the word parks and recreation before you say police and paving at this point, I don't know how you do, but you do. So those are my only following comments after tonight's discussion. Thank you.
Anybody else? I don't see anybody virtual. Take a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Long, second by Mr. Prevent. Any questions? All in favor, aye. Opposed? Thank you for coming to the meeting.